Hey guys, Powerbang here. It's time for another war-based defense video. I wanted to give you guys a few tips on your hidden Teslas. Now, your Teslas are one of your most important defenses for clan wars. They are one of the highest damage per second buildings in your arsenal at 87 damage per second for a max Town Hall 9 level Tesla. And it goes up from there, I believe, to 99 at level 8, which is a Town Hall 10 exclusive building. So hidden Teslas put out a ton of damage, and as we all know, their favorite targets are P.E.K.K.A.s, and P.E.K.K.A.s are a very popular component of a very popular army strat called Go Wipe. They do double the damage to P.E.K.K.A.s, and they will prefer them as a target as long as they're in range. So let's talk about where we want to place the Teslas within our base. I'll show you a few examples, and I'll show you a few things of what to do and what not to do. Now, as we talked about in one of our previous videos, having a symmetrical war base does not necessarily work to your advantage because let's pop into our current opponent here. Let's look at number 9. Now, if we look at this base and we do a scout, we're going to, for assumption's sake, for the point of this video, we're going to say that the hidden Teslas are in the core and they're in the typical quad Tesla formation where there are 4 Teslas bordering the town hall. Now, this is a very, very common setup, and if you see 2 empty spaces on each side of the town hall in a symmetrical base, more often than not, I would say 90% of the time, those are quad Teslas. Now, the reason that you don't want to do this is, one, it's predictable. You know that the Teslas are going to be there more often than not, so you're able to plan your raid around that. Now, that might surprise somebody if they aren't there in the first raid, but in a cleanup attack, you're kind of out of luck, as people will then know where your traps are. So they're predictable. That's the first thing. Now, in a Lava Lunian raid, where the primary damage dealers are balloons, lava hounds will come in. Say if they're coming from the top, they'll come into these air defenses, and then you'll have balloons target the defense buildings like this. And as they move into the base, they will all kind of move into the core and then eventually target those hidden Teslas. And now, as they move over and they're, sitting over those Teslas, when they drop their bombs, because there's a half tile splash radius on those bombs, if your town hall is bordered with defense buildings, specifically Teslas, because it's only a 2 tile building, your town hall is going to get damaged by those balloons. And if there's enough of them, and there typically are when your Teslas are in the center of the base, like your town hall normally is in a war base, all of those balloons have clumped up and are in a big pack right here. And when they drop their payload on those Teslas, they'll take out your town hall, building as well. And that's bad, because even on a failed raid, so say that they're going to 1-star your base and all they're going to do is pick up the 50% because the hounds have died, the balloons are about to die off, and say that these air defenses take out the rest of your balloons, but they do make it to the town hall, they're able to pick up the town hall kill and get that 2nd star on your base without actually having earned it, really, because all of their kill squad troops have either died or the pups from the lava hounds breaking have died. So that's what you don't want to do. You do not want to put your Teslas all around your town hall, because your town hall then becomes vulnerable to attacks by balloons due to their splash damage and their death splash when they fall. So let's look at how you could still use a quad Tesla setup, but maybe protect your town hall a little bit better. So let's check out this next base. Okay, same type of setup here. This guy still has the ability to have a quad Tesla and heavy firepower around his town hall in a somewhat of a setup like this. But what he's done is he's separated the space between his Teslas and the town hall with a wall. And that wall is 1 tile, but it's enough of a buffer where the splash damage isn't going to take out his Town Hall. So if you're going to put your Teslas, in a very tight formation to concentrate the damage per second and make a really beefy core, make sure you don't butt them right up against the Town Hall, and make sure there's a space against it. It doesn't have to be a wall in between, but there needs to be a space between your Teslas and your Town Hall. So that's kind of your tip number one. Now, let's look at a base that is not symmetrical. Let's look at one of my war bases that, again, this one's out of commission, but I still like to use it for an example because it is a decent base. Now, like I've warned in past videos, do not copy this base because it is out there on the internet, and people will see how to beat it and they will beat you. So check out the Tesla locations in this base. What I like to do is put my Teslas in a concentrated area that protect key components of what an enemy attacker is going to be trying to do. Now remember, an enemy attacker is going to try to lure your clan castle, get the kill, and then also take out your archer queen. Now, the archer queen is something that you can protect because when they lure the clan castle, they're going to pull those troops from your clan castle way out, here, and they're going to kill them, in some open area. Whereas your queen is limited to her platform, so she's not going to go anywhere outside of that radius. So you're able to actually protect that kill spot with some Teslas, because there's going to be a kill squad that's going to try to break in from one way or the other to try to access your queen. So I like to kind of skew my Teslas towards the side of my queen, and the key for having a successful Tesla setup is to have concentrated firepower, all of them in different compartments or separated by high HP buildings. Now, you'll notice that I have one Tesla here, and then I have a level 10 wall separating that from the next Tesla, and another level 10 wall separating that from this Tesla, and a wall here to separate it as well. And then I've got the last Tesla on the other side of the core. That one's kind of responsible for this direction, an attack coming in from this side of the Town Hall. But you'll notice that it has the clan castle and the Town Hall, which are the two highest HP buildings that you can have. Those are separating the two Teslas that are in the core. Now, that means that when somebody attacks your base, say Teslas, since they're most commonly used to protect against, like a go wipe, since they're focused on P.E.K.K.A.s, balloons are going to ignore walls, so it doesn't really matter where you place them. As long as it's not symmetrical, because then you can't anticipate where they're going to be. You notice like all the empty spots around this base that you could have Teslas, and it becomes apparent that when you give this base a scout, you really have no idea where it's going to actually pop up. So a ton of spots for Teslas, but looking at it from where they are set up, say somebody comes in with a go wipe attack and they come from this direction here, they're first going to have to deal with this Tesla here. Now, there is going to be some concentrated firepower because this Tesla's range is able to reach into this compartment just barely. This Tesla is able to help out significantly as it can reach pretty far into that compartment. But unless the queen, which typically stands back while all these buildings are up, unless she's able to step up and take these Teslas out over the wall, the P.E.K.K.A.s that are up front in melee range of these defenses are just getting fried. And that is a great thing because you can peter out the attack and basically stall it before it is able to tear through your core. Because if you were to place all of your Teslas in one spot, let's look at that example again from the enemy team here. We'll pull up, I believe it was number 9. Imagine if a Town Hall 10 came down to, attack this base. He drops a freeze spell in the core, something like that. And he's able to freeze probably 3 of those Teslas and completely render them useless. So for the cost of 1 freeze, he takes out all of his, all of the Teslas in your core without them doing really any damage. And then looking at a Town Hall 9 attacking this base, all they have to do is, for the cost of 1 heal, something like that, and then maybe a rage as well. You drop a rage in the same spot. You come in with some P.E.K.K.A.s, and they're able to quickly take out each one of those Teslas, no problem. So, wipe them out real quickly, move through the core, and that core is completely demolished, and they really haven't lost any life. Whereas when you're able to separate those out into different compartments. Now, I'm going to bounce one last time into this other base. Come on, load. There we go. When you separate them out into different compartments, when somebody comes in and say they drop a rage, that rage, the first part of it, this Tesla goes down, no problem. Then they bang on this wall for a while. They're still getting shot. They finally make it through and into this compartment and take out this Tesla. Now they are forced, if they want to keep, churning through these buildings, they're forced to use another spell in order to quickly get through the town hall and the clan castle, and then make it over to, the other Tesla, take that out. And then another spell on this one. So, I mean, basically the point that I'm trying to illustrate here is it's going to take multiple spells in order to quickly mitigate all of the high damage dealing defense buildings, or you're just not going to have the actual capability to take them all out quickly. So they're gonna be standing longer, doing damage longer, and you're gonna hold up a lot more attacks that way. Now remember, as a Town Hall 9, your goal is to hold up the enemy from scoring a 3-star attack on your base. 2 stars, who cares? 2 stars are not going to win wars in high-level clan wars. So moral of the story, spread out your Teslas, keep them in different compartments. Use an asymmetrical base where the Tesla locations are unpredictable, and make them have to spend a few attacks on your base in order to find out where your traps are. So in this base, there's one here, one here, one here, and one here. They're not symmetrical. You're not going to know where they are unless you attack the base first. And then also when you're thinking about placing them in your design process, when you're actually placing them, it does not hurt to skew them towards the side of a primary objective, whether that be the Town Hall or the Archer Queen kill. Move them towards that direction. Make the opponent spend a little more, resources and housing space to access whatever the objective is and take it out. You don't want them able to just come in and kill your queen with a suicide king. You want that king to die before he gets there. So stack up those areas with traps, make it difficult. And then the last thing I want to cover with your Teslas are, you can use them actually as a golem trap. Now what I mean by this is, if you go, we'll go check out one of the war bases again. When you attack a base and you do your initial scout, and this is before, say, where the traps are in a base. Let's mark as a scout where we think the Teslas might be in this base versus where they might actually be. So that's where we think they're going to be. Now what if they actually had a couple Teslas right here? Now you might have a attack come from the top, and they break in with a couple wall breakers, and then the goal is to jump spell over this wall here into the Tesla area. So what happens when they drop a golem up top and he goes to hit the wall here? He's not going to target these mortars here because they're not the closest. When they spread out, some wizards here to, kill off these buildings here in a funnel, and a Tesla pops over here, these golems redirect and go wide, and then you've got golems basically standing, one out here, and then you've got all this space in the middle where your damage dealing troops are getting shot by the defenses that are within the base. Now, this isn't a perfect base example for that, but I just wanted to kind of illustrate, what you typically see for a golem trap, and that's using your Teslas externally to basically as an element of surprise, especially on a first attack on the base. You're just not going to expect those Teslas to be there. Now the same thing could be said on the bottom of this base. Say instead they have Teslas here and here. And when you plan on sending your golem to target the bottom of this base, say we had a split something like this, and that's where we wanted our golems to go. Well, instead, when you drop this golem here, it's not going to that cannon. As soon as it gets in here and you drop, say, a wizard to create this funnel on this building, if that Tesla pops up, this golem's going to reroute and go here. And then what that does is open up all this space in between for these defenses to shoot at your troops. Now, this isn't a tactic that everybody's going to want to use, but in some base designs, a little misdirection and a little trickery never hurt anybody. And especially if you have a base that's a little bit on the lower side and it's probably going to get 3-starred anyway, it might help to burn up a couple attacks in order to reveal your traps and actually screw somebody up that way. So that's not going to do much for air attacks. But for the ground attacks, that's going to really, kind of hurt your kill squad and throw off your plan, and it's kind of difficult to come back from. So those are the main uses for your Teslas and how you would deploy them. Now remember, skew them to the side of, covering your most important objectives like your queen and your town hall. Put them in different compartments. That's huge, because if you can just access those Teslas and then one by one knock them out real quick, that eliminates the threat from the base. And even though having them in different compartments doesn't necessarily group up their firepower and concentrate that firepower as much as it possibly could over the long haul, over the course of a raid that's going for 3 stars, you're much more likely to slowly dwindle that raid down to where it's going to lose steam and peter out. So that's all I got for this time. Tune in next time for our next episode of War Defense, and I will have some more tips for you on another subject. So this is Powerbang, and I am signing